and welcome back to Blackwatch Intel. My name is Crashy, and today we're going to be doing an advanced guide on Doomfist. Now, there are a couple of playstyles specifically that I want to cover with Doomfist, but there are some little tips and tricks and little things you need to know here and there to become the most effective Doomfist that you can be. So first off the start, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, make sure you check that out, but going ahead and spoilers, I put Doomfist as my number 3 slot for the harder heroes in Overwatch. Now, simplicity wise, he's actually not too complicated. I mean, he's got a lot of bursts in his kit, he's very mobile, but I think it's understanding your win condition and understanding what you have at your disposal right in that moment, right before you take a fight or right before a fight breaks, is going to be key to getting the max amount of value out of him, because ultimately he is trying to get kills. He's trying to find someone and destroy them. Now, that said, I want to go on ahead and outline the fact that I believe that he is going to be amazingly effective in 2 specific comps. One is going to be a very passive, maybe even death ball-y style comp, where you really sit back and you play close to your teammates and you peel and you look for kills post-initiation. That's a very defensive style of play, and I definitely think you'll see that on a defensive style of map or side of the map that you're on. The second is dive comp, or just very fast dive type team in general. And I say this understanding that I think he's going to be a better defender type hero, like I said, the first type of playstyle, but I don't think it's going to pull away from how effective he can be as a dive hero as well. So, that said, I want to cover a couple of small tips or a couple of small things you need to know right off the start before even touching Doomfist. 1. His shots are much more important than they seem. You have infinite ammo, but they do come back over time, and you want to try to weave a shot in between every single ability. So you want to shoot, use an ability, shoot. You want to use an ability, shoot, use another ability, shoot. You always want to be trying to weave your shots together. Now the second, and I've said this a lot when it comes to Doomfist, I said it in the last video as well, you don't want to overexert yourself. You don't want to jump in on a single target, blow your full kit, and then just be standing there with nothing to do. Now, there is actually one scenario where that might be acceptable, and we're going to touch on that later in the video, but ultimately you need to understand the timings and the proper spacing of abilities on Doomfist. And this, I think, is pretty much a golden rule for Doomfist, at least from my perspective. You should never use more than 2 basic kit abilities to get a single kill. If you're using all 3 abilities to try to kill a single target, then you're probably not playing him right, and you're ultimately probably going to get yourself killed. Now, having said that, and with that said, if you've already won the fight, you have your full kit up, and the rest of the fight is kind of concluding, and say you have a tank in front of you, sure, blow the full kit. You can go on ahead and use it safely. You're going to be surrounded by your teammates, or at least on the winning side of the fight, and that's totally acceptable. But if, the team fight's just breaking and you find yourself in the back line, or, you find yourself being dove on and you're using your entire kit just to secure a single kill, well, at best you're going to trade 1 for 1, and that might not even happen. So, again, make sure you're weaving your shots, make sure you're not just wasting shots at full long range, because while there is no drop off, the spread is really wide and you're ultimately not going to get that much damage. Now, if a target's running away with literally like 1 health, sure, spam it, because you may end up just going ahead and getting that last final shot to kill him. Doomfist is awesome. He has the 4-second rocket punch, and I want to go ahead and say 90% of the time that you're playing Doomfist, you're going to be looking for proper rocket punch one-shots. So your targets are the healers and the DPS. That's just who you're looking for. You really don't want to fight a tank with Doomfist. And like I said, you can, if it's the end of the fight, if you need to help peel, then yeah, definitely go on ahead and engage on that tank. But more often than not, you're going to be looking to wipe someone and find that instantaneous pick. He's the melee version of Widowmaker, the instantaneous one-shot hero that we've all been wanting, and he's really insane. So you really need to understand how the rocket punch works, because it is on a 4-second cooldown, but just because you charge it doesn't mean you have to use it. Understand where you're going to put yourself if you let that rocket punch fly. Understand that you don't necessarily have to fly straight forward or try to time the most perfect rocket punch on a team that has not fully engaged yet. Being a bit more passive, or trying to get into a fight without immediately using the rocket punch may be the better way to play him. That said, again, if you are in a dive comp and the comp is moving very fast, you have the Lucio speed, and you see an opportunity to initiate with the rocket punch and you think you might find that one shot, it's not a terrible idea. My combo that I use most often, and we actually did a video for it when he came out on the PTR, is using the Seismic Slam, and right when they're knocked up, they're kind of floating in the air for a second, I kind of half charge the rocket punch and instant one-shot the hero. Now this works on almost all, I think, or actually all 250 HP targets, as long as you kind of angle yourself to hit them in the wall with the half charge, but it doesn't allow you, or it doesn't force you to have to use any other follow-up abilities beyond that. So as long as you can get yourself in, if you don't have a good opportunity to one-shot with the Rocket Punch alone, initiate with a guaranteed Rocket Punch because you hit them with a Seismic Slam. So leading that Seismic Slam Rocket Punch combo, it's absolutely my favorite way of playing him. And it kind of gets in a weird, funny space where after you find that combo, or after you whiff that combo, or however this fight breaks out, you end up kind of playing footsies. And while Doomfist doesn't necessarily have a defensive cooldown, I kind of think of his uppercut as a defensive cooldown. It's a way to get yourself off the ground, out of your enemy's face immediately, and it also might be a way to escape if you have a ledge above you, or a building, or something you can jump on to just kind of get yourself out of the way. Now, Doomfist's ultimate is an interesting tool because he kind of doesn't have a way to use it unless you're either going all in. That's kind of the way I think of it. Like when you need to use the ultimate, you need to be sure that you're going to find minimum 1 kill with it, and you need to be sure that you either have a way out of your ultimate, like an immediate escape, or that it's going to be a full-on engage. Comboing it with things like Zarya, using it in the midst of a dive comp, or using it defensively as you're getting dove is probably the best ways to use it. That said, there are certain scenarios, depending on how long you're going to hold the ultimate for, and this is just really situational, where blowing your full kit before the ultimate is a really solid tactic. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the video. If you go in, look for a pick, or weaken some enemies, you know, just you're peeling off or you're diving, it doesn't really matter. Find yourself in a situation where you're out of position, you've overexerted yourself, and then you pop the ultimate to get yourself off the ground. This will allow you to find the proper spacing between your abilities because of the ultimate. So as I said previously, you don't really want to overexert yourself, but if you have the ultimate, then it's kind of okay. It's kind of your get out of jail free card, and you can find some more kills. So jump in, overexert yourself, blow the full kit, and then pop up in the air with the ultimate. Try to find some kills. By the time you land, you will either have your Rocket Punch back up, or you will be very close to having your full kit. So you can try to Rocket Punch out, or you can continue the fight based on how effective your ultimate was. This is my favorite way of playing with Doomfist. It's kind of the one foot in the door type of strategy where you know you have the ultimate to save your life, so you really overexert yourself, you overextend, you go really hard, you dive as hard as you can, or you just fight as many people as you can at once, and then pop the ultimate for your get out of jail free card. So ultimately, that's the best way to fight with him. I think the biggest learning curve to Doomfist is understanding every single win condition, understanding how you win the 1v1 that's in front of you, understanding when to cancel your Rocket Punch, and ultimately trying your best to find the kills the most effective way possible. And as I said, my favorite combo is doing a Seismic Slam into about a half-charged Rocket Punch. This guarantees me a lot of kills, and in between that, if I don't need it, if I'm at a long distance and I really need to try to find a kill, or I need to reposition, then just charging the full Rocket Punch is the best. But you have to make smart decisions, and you have to make them quickly. So that's going to be the video. There's probably more about Doomfist I can talk about, and he's such a fun hero. The shielding passive, you almost don't even notice it. You don't count on it. You can't really bank on it. It's just kind of there, but it does keep him alive quite a bit. So maybe we'll talk about that in the future, or how to maximize that with hitting multiple enemies with the slam. But more often than not, you can't really prioritize that. You just have to find the kill. You have to be efficient. You have to space out your abilities, and you have to know what you're doing with the ultimate. So thank you so much for checking out this video. This is actually one of the longer ones, so that's kind of exciting that I was able to talk about a hero that I love and I can't wait to get my hands on in competitive. Please do not leave this video without leaving a like, and subscribe for future content. Let me know what you're thinking of Doomfist. Let me know what you think about these kind of longer discussions where we just talk about a hero and really do the tell-all of how to play them effectively, at least from my perspective, because Doomfist is up my alley. I absolutely love his kit, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on him. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you for the next video.
Do you feel your bones start shake? Do you feel the earthquake? Do you feel the fire inside of me? Do you see the sparks that I'm setting free? Does the beat take you over? You just